My name is Carla Pereira. I'm a human relations, human management expert, and I'm passionate about human relations and how they impact business performance. I have a former HR in corporate world, and I became a business owner almost 20 years ago, where I work for companies, mainly in the finance world, but not exclusively. And so today I would like to talk about behaviors. So we are emotional and social creators, and we sometimes our behaviors are dictated by our emotions. And one of the strongest one is fear. And so in the corporate world, fear triggers some negative behaviors, like think about micromanagement, being afraid of facing the consequences of others' mistakes. Think about cynicism, fear of being disappointed again. I don't want to believe anymore. Think about manipulation, fear of losing power, influencing power. Think about change resistance, fear of not having the competences for the next job, of the next environment, okay? So, have you ever observed this kind of behaviors in the corporate world?
Absolutely.
Never. I'm sure, never. So, that's the thing. We have all observed, and some of these behaviors, we also have them, okay? So, about these negative behaviors will have an impact on human relations. And so when we have tense human relations, it's like things that it takes a lot of room in our heads, it takes a lot of time and energy. And so you think about the interaction with this difficult person that you had. These thoughts, it's what keeps us awake at night. What did he say? What did he say this about me? And she have done this, and she has done that. And so you keep ruminating, and it increases stress and fatigue. And so we know that higher levels of stress, cortisol and neuroadrenaline, etc., prevent our brain to function properly. And so declining our cognitive abilities. And so we perform less. So it's a vicious cycle. And during my studies for the Master in Human Management that I finished 4 years ago, everything became clear. Human relations are the most important performance killer for the individuals, the teams, and organizations, companies. So it's like, okay, we need to fix human relations if we want to raise the performance. That's why if you go on my website, you will see the slogan, take good care of human relations, performance will follow. The good news is we can change that. I want to share with you a few tips. When you realize that most of negative behaviors come out of fear, it's about recognizing that in other people's behaviors. So whenever someone is doing something or telling something that hurts you, that upsets you, ask yourself, what is he or she afraid of? Most of the time, there's a fear behind the negative behavior. And so just by asking yourself that simple question, even if you don't have the answer, the answer doesn't matter what is the fear behind. It's just that you acknowledge that this is fear. And so by doing so, you shift from your automatic brain to your adaptive brain, meaning your prefrontal cortex. And this will immediately lower your stress level, and the way it will change the way you will respond to what you feel like maybe an aggression, okay? maybe a disappointment. And so maybe a frustration for this behavior. And then you will respond differently, changing your own behavior. You will lead this conversation in a very different direction. So the power here is that I understand that you are afraid. I'm not going to the fight with you. I acknowledge that. I change my response and I change the conversation rather than being impacted by this negative behavior. So what most academic research have demonstrated is that companies that are able to trigger positive, spontaneous actions in the workplace are those who have a higher performance. And so thinking of how do you trigger these spontaneous positive actions, we need social and emotional security. If you feel secure, you are able to take initiatives and positive initiatives. Another tip I would like to share with you that works in private life as in professional life is about thinking of positive things. Whenever you are in a tense relationship with someone, even if it's difficult, rack your brains to find something honest, sincere, and positive about that person. Again, it will shift your mindset. And seeing this positive in that person and share this with her. It's a really powerful thing. So giving positive feedback, and please, positive only feedback. Not the kind of positive feedback you say something nice and then but. We just need to stop this but. You only give positive feedback. If you have an issue to address with this person, you will have another conversation, okay? But giving this positive only feedback is really powerful. And it's more than powerful, it's a superpower. It's a superpower we all have. Changing the relationships we have with people. No matter how they behave, you decide how you behave. And so you give this positive feedback and you make someone else's day, and you lower the tension amongst people and make your day better too. So think about, superpower, because we have another one. We have the superpower of break someone else's day. Snapping at someone, criticizing, telling things behind their back. So you can also ruin someone else's day. So it's up to us to decide which one of the superpowers we want to use on our day-to-day. So and many academic research also show that people can learn how to change their behaviors. And if you want to check on Google Scholar, the Google Oxygen Project. So they start observing managers that were having a great performance with their teams and were committed and engaged, etc. And so they observed these behaviors. They have identified 8 behaviors. And so they started teaching them to all the managers of Google. And they start through training session, coaching session, etc. So the results, more or less, make a story short, that even the 75% worst managers of Google improved. So there were 25 that were, desperate cases. But for the rest, 75% improved. So we know it's not an opinion, it's research-based. If you teach people and you teach managers how to become better leaders, they learn it. And so brings me back to what I do, is that I translate everything that I've learned through academic research. I'm a certified neurocognitive and behavior approach, so I really work on behaviors. What was missing for these managers, because we know a lot of things, was the toolbox. So a very concrete, ready-to-use tools for these managers. And so this is what I do in my trainings and coaching sessions. So I give people a toolbox, a real toolbox, and inside with, depending on the struggles they have with their teams, how they choose to use through an action plan, an individual action plan. And so it works. And just to share an example, one of my clients, head of HR, she shared with me that during the training there were two managers that were having a confrontation. For more than 2 years, they couldn't make them work together. And we did an exercise like giving positive feedback during this training session. And after that, they decided not only to better collaborate together, but as they are moving premises, now they want to be on the same floor to really work together. And so this example alone shows that they changed in behavior because we help them, we give them very practical tools. So I thank you very much for listening to me. I will give you my business card. Please, let's connect. I'm preparing a webinar on sustainable team performance because this is what I want to achieve with my customers. Thank you.